You may have your favorite type of pen, but here we're going to look at some of the basic different types of construction of different pens, such as ballpoint, fountain, felt, and ceramic, to name a few. So starting with the ballpoint pen. It dispenses oil-based ink in an internal reservoir through the rolling action of a metal ball, and that's where it gets its name from. We could see kind of zoomed in versions here. That small little ball rolls, and that causes the ink. The ball may be made of brass, steel, or tungsten carbonate. The diameter can be classified as fine, medium, or needle point, often is the case. It's referring to the precision of that ball there for a ballpoint pen. They're typically not made in China due to the need to have very strict tolerances to the components, which China tends not to have that high degree of tolerance. So this is why these tend not to be made in China. Then we have our roller pens, and these are similar mechanics to a ballpoint pen, but they use water-based liquid or gelled ink, as opposed to the oil-based viscosities ink found in ballpoint pens. They're less viscous ink and tend to saturate more deeply and more widely into paper than other types of ink. And the writing point is a tiny ball, usually 0.5 or 0.7 millimeters in diameter, that transfers the ink from the reservoir to the paper as the pen moves, as it rolls across the surface. Then we have gel pens. This ink pigment is suspended in a water-based gel. The ink is thick and opaque, so that's something that kind of differentiates it from the others. Some people really like it and some people don't like it. Shows up more clearly on dark or slick surfaces than typical inks used for the ballpoint or even felt-tipped pens. Those gel pens are popularity has increased, leading to them being used to sign many legal documents. So it is important to kind of be advised for what they look like and what characteristics they may have, because we may be seeing them more often. This is increased number of suspected and fraud cases. So again, definitely a worthy note. Not just a gel pen is no longer just kind of a fun pen that a couple people use. It's being used at higher levels as well. Several well-established methods exist for analyzing inks from ballpoint and fountain pens, but not so much for the gel pens, which is important when we're looking at them being used in a potential crime scene. We have our fountain pens. This is a nimble pen that contains an internal reservoir of water-based liquid. Unlike the predecessors that did dip a pen, this pen draws ink from the reservoir through the feed to the nib that deposits on the paper via a combination of gravity and capillary action. So no longer do you have the feather you have to dip into the fountain. This has an internal kind of reservoir there, but kind of a unique mechanical system for delivering that ink. We have our felt tip pen, just as the name implies. It has a tip that is felt based, and we kind of see that here with a really zoomed in version of some of the fibers coming out. This tip is common, very porous, and pressed on fibers such as felt. Used into the early 90s, was the most common solvents for used in the ink were toluene or xylene. Today, the ink is usually made of basis of alcohols, propanol, butanol, and things like that. So important if you're looking at analyzing the ink to be looking at more alcohol-based if you think it was originated from a felt-tipped pen. And lastly, we have ceramic pens, and these wear well due to the ceramic material. It's a very hard, very dense material, and does not broaden when pressure is applied while writing. So it's important when you're looking at analyzing the handwriting if it was made from a ceramic tip pen.